Progress.
Welcome everyone to First Time Homebuyer Seminar. We are so grateful to have you here. My name is Alicia Manning.
I am Corinne Marks.
And this is our first seminar, but first of many. We are super excited for you to meet our team as well. So let's get started here. I'm Alicia Manning. I'm the Director of Underwriting at Mortgage Savvy.
And my name is Corinne Marks. I'm a real estate agent at Rare Real Estate Inc.
I have my two friends here, Philip Nunes from Lenwise. If you want to say hi, Phil.
Hi, very nice to meet everybody. I'm a little bit sick. You can probably hear it on my voice, but it's all going to be great. Very nice to meet you. I am a BDM with Merrick's Financial.
And Ruben.
Hey, Ben.
Hi, everyone. Great to see everyone. Great to see the great attendance, and looking forward to a really great event. I think you guys are in for a treat this evening.
Thank you. So let's get into it. Corinne.
Yes. So a little bit about me. My name is Corinne Marks. I am a real estate agent with Rare Real Estate Inc. I have been in the industry for 6 years now. I have a BA from Laurier University, as well as a certified luxury home marketing specialty. And prior to jumping into real estate, I worked in hospitality, wealth management, and seniors healthcare. So I have a bit of a diverse focus when it comes to my clients. I've just worked with so many different kinds. So first-time home buyers, clients who are looking to upsize or downsize, or investors who are looking to grow their portfolio, whether that's through pre-construction projects, assignment deals, or homes for them to renovate and rent out. I also own 3 properties myself, so I've been through the process multiple times. I also have undergone 2 extensive renovations. So I own a primary residence downtown. I also have a multi-unit property in the beaches and a pre-construction project as well.
Thanks. So as I said, my name is Alicia Manning. I am the Director of Underwriting at Mortgage Savvy. We are located in Toronto near the shops at Don Mills. So I started my career with 2 major banks, including TD Canada Trust and CIBC. I paced for Rookie of the Year the first 4 months in my career. I have underwritten and funded over $500 million in mortgages in the last 4 or 5 years. I also have trained and coached over 250 agents across the country on how to do mortgages and submit them properly to lenders. And I've been nominated for the Young Achiever of the Award this year. So very excited to have you all here today. So Corinne, let's start it off here.
So this is just an overlook of everything Alicia and I are going to be discussing. It kind of takes you from start to finish in terms of the home buying process. What we're going to start off with first, which is the 2 most important parts, is first finding a mortgage broker, Alicia, and figuring out your finances and getting pre-approved. And then the next would be speaking to your real estate agent and selecting a real estate agent as well. So let's get started.
So let's get started into financing. So your first step usually is to get pre-approved before you go home shopping. So we want to know how much you qualify for. When dealing with a mortgage broker and a lender, it's going to come down to the 5 C's of credit. As any agent, these are the things we first know about. So let's get into what these mean. So character. So character means your credit. We need to know what type of character are you. Do you pay your bills on time? How much credit do you have? What's your credit score? Capacity. So the capacity is your ability to repay your loan. So your employment any types of income that you have, we're going to verify all of that. Capital, down payment. So are we starting with 5%? Are we going over 20? What does that look like, and what type of savings do you have? So conditions and external conditions like state of economy, industry trends, legal regulations, change of stress test, and all of that fun jazz that we need to know, and if you qualify. And the collateral type of property matters here. So that type of property is the collateral of that mortgage loan. So we need to make sure it meets the requirements to the lender and the banks. So what is the minimum credit score to obtain a mortgage approval? So with your standard top 5 banks, and as well as monoline lenders that only deal with mortgages, the minimum credit score is 600. I put an asterisk there and a star because even if the minimum credit score is 600, there's a reason your credit is at 600. So we have to also figure out if it is that low due to missed payments or anything. And we have to give a story to the lender in regards to that. So that could also look at potentially if you're in and around that 600 range, maybe a guarantor or a cosigner. Alternative lenders, those lenders that, extend your purchasing power, maybe work with, bruised credit, some self-employed individuals to qualify for more income. They have a minimum credit score usually of around the 500 range, but keep in mind with alternative lenders, you need a minimum down payment of 20%. Private lenders don't really have a minimum credit score requirement because everything is based on equity. So we'll leave it at that for them. So what type of income is used to qualify for a mortgage? So salaried and hourly employment is usually the number one. We also can use self-employed business for self-individuals, but some things people don't know is we can use 100% of child tax benefit. So if you are getting any income from the government in that sense monthly, we can definitely use that income. Child support and alimony, definitely can also use those. So keep in mind with documents for that, separation agreement, child birth certificate. Pension income retirement, maybe you have a co-signer that is getting pension income. We can absolutely use 100% of their pension income with 3 months bank statements to confirm. Disability income has a star there because we can only use short or long-term disability and not short-term. You will require a letter from the insurer that is paying those benefits out in order to use that. Investment income. So if you have substantial investments and you are taking dividends or get any returns on those investments, we can absolutely use those, the 2-year average, as well as proof of those investments that you still have those. And rental income. So if you get a unit or a property with a basement suite, or maybe you have other properties potentially, we can definitely use rental income. How much down payment do I need to purchase a home in Canada? So the down payment requirements in Canada, the minimum down payment required is 5% on the first 500,000 and 10% to the remainder, up to a purchase price of 999,999. Anything above the $1 million mark requires a minimum down payment of 20%. And I've listed below a little bit of the purchase price and minimum down payment requirements there. Options for down payment. So I'm going to be completely honest. When you're doing a mortgage application, the most tedious parts of that can be income and down payment. We're trying to make it as stress-free as possible. So that's why I'm telling you this up front, so you don't have that problem. Savings for your down payment, we usually require 3 months bank statements. Keep in mind, if you are putting less than 20% down, the insurers in the back end and the lenders can require to show every deposit and proof that's coming into your bank account up to a minimum amount of $2,500. If you're getting any transfer there, you're transferring it from savings, you're transferring it from there, that can be tedious when it comes to document preparation. So before moving any money around, please consult with your mortgage broker before doing that to make sure you have a seamless and stressful process. Gifted down payment, those who are lucky enough to have people in their lives that are able to gift them down payment Keep in mind, immediate family members only. And what that means is mom, dad, brother, sister, grandma, grandpa. Those are the immediate family members when it goes in and obtains to a lender. If you have, a cousin or an aunt or an uncle, please consult with your mortgage broker first or myself beforehand so we can have a separate conversation in regards to that. RSPs, first time or the home buyers plan, as it's called, you can remove $35,000 tax-free from your RSP as a first-time home buyer. There will be documents in place to get this out for that. So keep in mind, if you need it for deposit, make sure you're going before the 24-hour notice. And first-time home buyer incentive, we're not going to touch too much on this policy as it came from the government of Canada. In the GTA, it doesn't work too well, but if you are in a rural part of the area, it could obtain to you. So I would suggest booking an appointment with me to see what incentives we have that we can offer you. 36. So 36, there's a big 36 number here, is the average age of a first-time home buyer today in Canada. So that is the number. I've seen people purchase less than that, younger than that, older than that. Just wanted to throw that out there. That is the average age currently right now of a first-time home buyer. So we're going to just briefly, so we've listed all the different first-time homebuyer incentive and benefits, but again, like Alicia mentioned before, not all of them pertain to everyone specific in Toronto, and there are specific requirements as well. So there's only going to be one that we will discuss, and that is the land transfer tax rebate. Now, there are two different types of land transfer tax. We have a provincial one. So anyone who buys a property in Ontario is subject to the provincial land transfer tax. Now, if you're buying in Toronto, that means if you're buying as west as Etobicoke, as east as Scarborough, as north of Steeles, and as south as the lake, you will be subject to a municipal land transfer tax. Now, both of these have a rebate for first-time home buyers. So the provincial land transfer tax, you have up to $4,000. And for the municipal one, you have up to $4,475. Now, there are a few requirements based on this. So you do have to be a first-time home buyer. If you're going in, let's say one of your family members is helping you so that you can get a higher mortgage and they're going to be at 1% of the ownership and you are 99%, then only 99% of the property under which you are the owner will be subject to the rebate. You also have to live in the property within 9 months. So there are a few others, which again, we will be sending everyone invites to book meetings with us and we'll go over it in more detail. Fact. Okay. So Toronto has 73,000 realtors and only 1% of them have multiple transactions. Why am I telling you this? It's important for you to select a real estate agent who is active in the market. It can shift very quickly. So like we can see right now from December to January, they're both very quiet months to begin with, but offer nights were not as successful in December. And here, I mean, today there's been an offer night and there were 85 offers on one property in Mississauga.
Yeah. And even I was a part of an offer night tonight as well. And there was, I believe, 15 offers. We're seeing the offer nights being successful. So it's very, it can shift quickly. So you want someone who knows what's going on at all times because it will help save you time and money. So this kind of goes into working with a real estate agent and why it's important. So we provide you professional guidance and support. We're with you every step of the way. We're going to tell you what a smart purchase is versus not. So we're here to help answer any questions and to provide you with all the support. It's a very stressful, emotional, it's a huge investment. So we want to make sure that there is nothing that we're missing to inform you so that you're as confident as possible when making your purchase. We also help save you money. And that is because when we go into a property, we'll look at things that if we think that it should be flagged, and if you want to purchase it, we want to make sure that we highlight it in the offer. So if we notice that there's something broken, we want to highlight that and see if that's something that the seller will pay. Now, it's also free to use me when you're a buyer because you guys will also not pay. It is the seller who pays. So that's also sometimes a misconception that people have, but there is no payment on your end either. We also provide you access to more homes. So what I mean by that is we provide you everything on MLS, which, you know, everyone has access to, but we also have access to an off-market MLS where sellers will either place their property on there as coming soon. So we might be able to get you a property before it actually hits the public. And there are also sellers who don't want it to be known in the public, whether for personal reasons, nosy neighbors. So again, there's access to that, and that's something that the general public does not have. Negotiating skills and tactics. Again, this also kind of ties into the saving money part. We know what skills and tactics to use and when. So if we know that we need to negotiate, if they're not going to budge on price, let's say, but we can negotiate for them to pay for X amount of things in the household to be completed, it can kind of balance each other out. So there's just a lot of different tactics and skills, and having a real estate agent who knows how to use them and when to use them will be super beneficial. We also avoid closing issues, and that's primarily too because we like to work in a team environment. So having a mortgage broker close by, having a lawyer and a lender that we can just work on the deal together and avoid any last minute issues that could arise. And then we also work in your best interest. I always say, if I'm not going to buy the property, why would I tell you? And I don't mean it in the sense that the criteria isn't something I would buy, but if you were buying a property and I was aware of a construction site happening across the street in a year, and you would be subject to that, I'm going to let you know, and I'm going to let you make that decision on whether you want to buy it. So there's a lot of things that, unfortunately, some real estate agents just want to get the deal done and might not want to share information like that. So it's just working in your best interest and making sure that you're happy and confident and know everything about the purchase you're going to make. So when we sit down to go over the checklist, these are all the items that I will go through with you. So I'm just going to go over this as quickly as possible, but we're going to talk about your budget, which we would have already had from your mortgage pre-approval. Then we need to know, do you want a condo or a freehold property? When it's a condo, do you want just a condo, a regular condo, a hard loft or a soft loft? A condo townhouse, multi-level. And then when it comes to freehold, do you want a detached, semi-detached, a duplex, a bungalow? Next, we're going to discuss location. What is important to you? So whether it's neighborhood, or maybe a location is being anywhere on the TTC line, close to highways, parks, schools, proximity to downtown. Then we want to figure out the size of the property. How many square feet? How many floors? How many bed and bathrooms? Do you need office space? Do you want outdoor space like a balcony, terrace, front yard, backyard? Or maybe you just want access to a rooftop terrace in the condo. Then the amenities, and this is either amenities in the building or close by. Do you want to be close to a gym, grocery store? And then we also want to figure out whether parking is important for you or a locker. Something I do want to discuss about parking and locker is when you are buying in a condo, if there's a unit, let's say, that you absolutely love and it doesn't come with parking or a locker, we can actually message property management, see if maybe they have any parking spots for sale, Or maybe they know about someone selling a parking spot in a building. I currently have a parking spot for sale in a building, and not everyone is aware of that. And we're trying to get that word out. But, you know, there's so many different things that you can tap into to see if it is an option. Once we have this, we're going to go through what are your non-negotiables that you don't want to see the property if it does not have it, and negotiables, which are nice to have, but it won't make or break the property. Don't wait to buy real estate and wait. So I love this quote, and the reason why I'm showing this to you is that you can't time the housing market. And often I will hear that people are waiting for prices to come down, or waiting a little bit longer, or a month or so to see where the prices go. Often the prices end up going up. So I always say it's just smart. Like, if you're ready to get in the market, jump in the market, get into it now. The Toronto real estate market is strong. It's always been strong, and the real estate market always goes through ebbs and flows. So it's just smarter to park your money into real estate and watch it grow versus getting into it at a higher price point.
And one thing to add on the financing side of this quote is that I see it so often, because some people, you know, we're not in 2020 anymore. I'm not offering rates at 0.99. If you came here looking for them, they're not here. But that's the thing. When rates went up, you know, the prices did go down. So now we're currently seeing 85 offers right now, and rates haven't gone all the way down, but we are anticipating Bank of Canada to be lowering at least 25 basis points potentially in March, depending on inflation, but definitely probably by June. So once that rate starts going down, if you thought 85 offers or 15 offers was a lot, expect a lot more traffic to come in. And what I think when I hear, you know, I want to go and save more money potentially, I don't think you can save as much as that you can grow in equity, because I call it like the hamster wheel. You keep running and running and running and saving and saving and saving. But meanwhile, the property values are going up. So you got to go run and run and run again and save. So by the time potentially, let's say even if you close with 5% down, by the time you close on that property, your mortgage insurance premium probably is covered already in your equity.
So market education. So this is something I like to provide to my clients. What I mean by that is I like to do something called market showing. So this is our first preliminary look at properties. This might not necessarily be the property that you're interested in. It will have your criteria and it'll be within the budget. This is to just get you aware of what is on the market, what it's priced at, what an offer night pricing looks like, what it ends up selling. So it's really just to educate yourself so that when it comes to going out and viewing the homes that are of interest, you're confident and you're prepared. Sometimes when I do market showings, we end up going back to that checklist and they end up changing some features. Sometimes a non-negotiable becomes a negotiable. Mm-hmm. So it's really just to make you an educated buyer and a confident buyer. Then I also like to discuss the difference between market price, market value, and listed price. It all sounds like it's the same, but market price is what you are going to pay for the property, which is usually based from market value. So market value is what has recently sold that is most comparable to the property of interest. So I will tell you, look, Alicia, this house, the identical house sold next door a week ago for $1 million. Chances are it's going to go up a little bit for the next price and a little bit more. So we're kind of going to gauge a price based on that. So that's market value. Then we have listed price. There's 3 different types of listed prices. There's undervalue, at market, and overvalue. So again, when looking at a property, I would tell you whether it's undervalue, which means there's going to be an offer night. I will provide you with the market value of that property, and then we're going to discuss what your market price is. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing. Then we also go over the macro and micro trends. So macro trends would be what, like, at large in the economy. So as we had just seen, the interest rate. So as interest rates go up, prices go down, and vice versa. So we're going to discuss what's going on and what is going to be in effect. Then we have the micro trends. What is specific to that neighborhood that either increases value or will increase value? So being right on a subway line, usually there is a price increase to that. Or if we know of something happening in the neighborhood, like in Leslieville, for example, with the relief line going through, sure, the construction for 10 years will be very frustrating and some people will want to move out and the prices might kind of flop around. But once that relief line is completed, value will be going up. So that's kind of something about micro trends. Then carrying costs, these vary based on buying in Toronto or buying in Oakville or Mississauga. And again, the maintenance fees, they vary from building. And then I'll also teach you some of the real estate lingo so you don't think I'm speaking a different language and you understand, you know, what a status certificate is, home inspection report, what they mean, just to make you, you know, informed and confident. Once we have everything in order, we're going to go for, it's the home searching process. So I'll set you up on MLS and Realm. I'll get an email of everything based on your criteria, but I'll go through it and then send it to you. Then we're going to go on showings. We're going to go see 5 to 6 properties during each showing. And then either you like them or you don't like them and we submit an offer. I will be providing comparables for every property we go to view. And that's just to give you an idea of where we see the price for that. Then when we're walking into a property, I will point out things that might not be noticeable to you. So I will, if it feels damp in the house, I'm going to want to know why. Or if I notice that there's water staining on the ceiling, there's just a bunch of items that we might be looking for to just see and understand whether the property is in good condition or not. Sometimes staging puts carpets on the ground. I will go under the carpet and look to see if it is ruined. So that's just, again, something that you would add in the negotiating tactics when submitting an offer. And then neighborhood analysis, the developments that are happening in the neighborhood that will positively or negatively affect the values of the home.
So type of property matters when it comes to financing, and I will kind of tap into a little bit of these, but the first one is co-op. So Corinne, we've all been there, I think you and me, where you look like it has a great price, low condo fees, and you're wondering why didn't you send this to me, Corinne? Why can't we go and see that one?
Yeah, and it's not always noticeable when a co-op is on the market. So you might be sending it to me like, this is amazing. It's in my neighborhood. It's super cheap. But co-ops are often very difficult to get a lender to finance.
Only usually 2 of them, and it's usually credit unions.
And it's also just on a resale perspective, the appreciation value is not, you won't see a good return. You can lose money very easily. So it's overall just something that I don't work with, and
They're very hard to take out. Like if you wanted to refinance and get the equity out, I've had no success on doing that. I've had success like kind of purchasing them, but I would just stay away overall. We'll get into some of the other ones here, but I just want to tap into acreages, and property location a little bit. So acreages, so I've had clients that are looking in the outskirts of Peterborough area and out there, trying to get more than 20 acres. Some lenders have a 20-acre maximum. When it comes down to having out buildings like barns and stuff is also could be an issue. Also property location, if you're looking to buy your first property and it could be in a cottage area or, you know, Muskokas, depending on the area there, some lenders actually limit their loan to value up to 65%, and that is a major bank. So utilizing additional lenders, which we'll get into, it might be useful for that, but it's something to consider and talk to your mortgage broker on. Let's play a game, because you guys are listening to us ramble for a little bit, and don't mind my saw guy on there. But we're going to play a game. So
this here, Alicia, I'm a first-time home buyer. This house is on the street. I told you I want it. It's super cheap. I really don't understand why you didn't send it to me.
So I'm going to let you guys take a little about 5 seconds to scan this MLS, because these are what your realtor is going to send you, and what I'd love you to send me as well to do some extra due diligence on before putting an offer. But this is the little scan. I'm going to give you 3, 2, 1, boom. And here is the reason. The MLS states right there. I know you couldn't swipe over the pictures, which would have helped you here. These are the only pictures on the MLS. The first remark is opportunities for investors, handymen, and flippers. If you also look a little bit after that, it says, as is condition without any warranties. So right away, fixer-uppers is a whole nother story. If it is a cosmetic renovation, like upgrading a kitchen or a bathroom, we can finance that, and Phil's going to get into that as well. But when it comes to something like this, there's no indoor pictures. It screams tear down to me, and that's not good for collateral when we go back to the 5 C's of credit. So the lenders are going to look at this and say, okay, they're just going to tear it down and rebuild. Then the bank has nothing to secure that loan on. So it's usually a red flag. It triggers an automatic appraisal and home inspection. So what you need to look out for is those handyman specials, please, and thank you. So now that's a tip for you guys to know when you look at MLSs.
And then next, I'm going to go over this. So not sure if you guys will be able to spot the issue, but I mean, it's a 1+1 bedroom, 775 square feet. It's an amazing price. But the reason why this is something else that we would flag is because of the square footage to maintenance ratio. Now, this is a newer building, and this is also condo fees also shouldn't be that as high as those are, $1,000. Typically older buildings, we can see the maintenance fees kind of inching up higher and higher, but at 775 square feet, for it to be $1,035 a month is something to be a cause of concern. So I already know, I've had clients send me this and they're like, Corinne, why did you not send me this? It's a great deal. It's right downtown in a neighborhood. But this property also had issues with the developer. The builder ran out of finances. They were not able to complete a lot of it. It wasn't able to register for a long time. There were lawsuits and liens against it. So again, these are a bunch of red flags and something that your real estate agent should be aware of by doing their homework of these buildings, because this would definitely be something that would be flagged, especially from the lender side as well.
So just a quick tip for the mortgage side, always when you are looking, we are always in talks with each other as a team, but you know, if for any reason you are using someone else, you should be sent, like realtor or mortgage broker, you should always be sending the MLSs. And if you are using an experienced mortgage broker, we have ins and outs of being able to tell you, even before putting an offer or checking a status certificate, if that condo has any red flags. So sending these up front, we can give you accurate numbers. We can let you know if you can go firm based on our analysis as well. So we want to always stay in contact with the MLSs as well.
And we also would review the status certificate, which is pretty much the condo's version of a home inspection report, which tells you the health of the condo, the building, the finances, the reserve fund, and whether there are any lawsuits against it. So that's also something that will highlight any negatives about it. Oops. There we go. Okay, so you found your property that you love. Now what? So I will walk you through quickly just so that we can try and get through the last 2 slides as quickly as possible, but preparing an offer, I would put it together. We would discuss price based on the comparables I provide you. Then I will walk you through everything that you're signing so you know the ins and outs. Clauses. So the agreement of purchase and sale has a standard set of clauses, but then there's also additional ones that your real estate agent should be putting in. Some of these would include that the seller warrants all appliances are in good working order and that there are no issues with it. And that typically will survive until close. Once close is done, that no longer exists. So then in addition to that, we would put a clause that says the buyer has the right to visit the property up to 3 times prior to close. A few days before close, we would go in and we would test all of those appliances, the electrical, make sure it's all working so that if anything is indeed broken, we can submit that to the lawyer and ensure that the seller pays out of pocket for it versus you finding out after close and then you're going to have to pay for this. Conditions. There are 3 main ones that you would put in. Conditional upon financing, conditional upon home inspection review, conditional upon status certificate review. Some people will also put conditional upon the sale of my house, but this doesn't really, we won't really discuss that. Yeah, it doesn't pertain for first-time home buyers. When you have an offer night situation, you sometimes want to go in firm with no conditions, but those conditions are still very important. So what that means is you need to speak to your mortgage broker to see if you can go in without a financing condition, if they're confident in the property and they've done their review and that you will be able to go in without a financing condition. Same with home inspection. If the seller has a home inspection report, it's been reviewed, you've seen everything, you are confident in what the report says. And then status certificate review. You will send it to your lawyer beforehand and have him give you the go-ahead so that you can just give a clean offer so that your offer is stronger than the others. Counter offers, this is something when the seller wants to work with you, so they sign back and maybe they changed the price, they changed the closing date, they added some clauses in, and then it's either up to you to accept or recounter that offer. Then the deposit. Typically, once a deal is accepted, you have 24 hours to provide it unless otherwise specified. And a deposit is usually 5% of the purchase price. This does go towards your down payment. And
to add on that one. So a lot of us have our money in different accounts where it comes simple, Simply Financial, Tangerine, those online brokerage accounts that you do not have access to money right away. So what we want you to do is when you are starting this process, we need to figure out where those funds are, as it will be a condition for your mortgage as well to prove that. So making sure if you're utilizing those RSPs, you're going to the bank maybe 5 business days before you start searching for a home, so you can have that out and you can provide that to the bank. But if you want to make sure you have enough time to take it out of any online brokerage accounts, if that's the case, and you cannot just step into a bank and get a bank draft. Okay.
And then we have, closing the deal in that process. So either your deal gets accepted conditionally, which means you have a certain amount of days to have those conditions removed. Once those conditions are removed, it then moves to firm or it just goes strictly or directly to a firm deal. Once that happens, we get the other parties involved again, which means your lawyer, your mortgage broker, and the lenders. So this is the perfect segment for Philip to jump in and begin with his introduction and slides.
So I'm going to unmute him.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you so much. So first of all, welcome to all the first-time home buyers. I'm not sure how many of you are first-time home buyers, but it is a great experience, one that I've gone through once, and it was nerve-wracking. It was scary, and I didn't have the fantastic support of Corinne and Alicia and Mortgage Savvy at the time, because if I did, I can tell you, it definitely would have helped me. If you could move the next one, Alicia. Thank you. So I'm not going to talk about myself because it's not about me. It's about you. And go ahead, next. And so realistically speaking, what is Merrick's Financial? And I get asked this question regularly. What is Merrick's Financial? What we are is basically a AAA lender. And our goal is to help you achieve your dream of home ownership. And realistically speaking, we don't deal with the consumer directly, we do it through our mortgage brokers like Alicia Manning and Mortgage Savvy. We are an extremely credible company, and I know it's easy to say that, but we have been around for 40 years, and we have focused on ensuring that our customers, through our brokers, are receiving the best customer service at all times. Customer service, we're obsessed with it. We want to make sure that you have a great experience. We are obviously competing against the big banks. And as a monoline, meaning that monoline in the sense that we only do mortgages, we have specialized in creating great pricings and products to help you, become financially better off and obviously be able to achieve your home dreams. Okay. Merrick's customer portal. I'm starting with this slide because I really want to show you that we are similar in certain aspects to the big banks. One of the issues that we might have had a few years ago is that clients wouldn't have the same access that the big banks were offering them. We're happy to say that we have a portal, a customer portal, where you could access your information on your mortgage, your frequency payments, all the information regarding your mortgage. You can do prepayments into it. The only thing we don't have is bank accounts because we're not a deposit holding bank. But again, full access, full information, I would say, and I would argue even easier access. Go ahead, Alicia. Yeah. So what do we offer? Right. We are what you call a AAA lender. So if you remember Alicia's initial slide, she talked about credit scores and types of lending. We fall on that top category of clients with credit scores above 600. Okay. So it would be the equivalents to a Scotia, a BMO, an RBC. So that's the type of lending that we're going to be operating in. Obviously, there's other options and always speak to Alicia for all those options because she will definitely be there to help you. And by the way, I've been working with Alicia for a few years now. She is fantastic at what she does. So I highly, highly recommend her. She does a ton of business with us, extremely honorable, does great things for her customers. Okay. So the Merrick's Cashback program is one of the things that we are very proud of. And really what we're trying to do is obviously give you access to cash at the time that you close your deal. I'm not going to go through the whole program right now, obviously, and I'm going to keep referring to Alicia because she knows our program really well. And this is a great opportunity for you to have extra money in your pocket. And that money can be used towards different things. It can help you with the qualification and paying off certain liabilities that you might have and accelerate the process of entering the market. It can help you put some cash in your pocket and get that backyard finished. Maybe, you get a wonderful basement finished. Maybe you get that new kitchen you want and whatever it is, right? And we have different programs where we could support you on this. Cashback, of course, being one of them, okay? Please,
What
please.
happened? Oh, sorry. I wanted to cut into you a little bit
Yeah.
on the program. I find this program extremely versatile because some people come to us and didn't realize that when you're doing an insured mortgage, here's a tip for you guys as well. You need to show us proof of 1.5% of the purchase price for closing costs. As a first-time buyer, we know you're getting rebates. We know it might not be that much, but for the insurer requirements, we need to show that. So this program is a great program for that because we can use that towards that condition for the insurer. So just keep that in mind.
Awesome. Thank you, Alicia. We do all types of programs, all types of qualifications. We have a business for self alternative type of program that will allow for us to approve deals with stated income. We'll obviously do business qualifications. So the fact that you're a business person and you're not falling within the regular type of income doesn't mean that you don't qualify for a AAA mortgage. So please, again, reach out to Alicia, reach out to Corinne, reach out to Mortgage Savvy and get them to help you with these programs. I guarantee you that they will help. By the way, I keep talking positive, with positive notes about Alicia. Just keep in mind the following. I'm just one of the lenders that she has in her options. What that means is that she has access to, 30, 40, 50, Alicia, right now, maybe more than that, who knows. She will call me on it. She will say, hey, I have this deal, a great customer. Do you have the price? And if I don't, she takes it to somebody else. So she is out there defending her interests. So just keep that in mind. That's really important. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Great focus here as well. So if anybody has dealt with Mortgage Savvy before, and I'm noticed the rate guru, I watch all the rates. I know exactly what's going on, but Phil tries to accommodate me as much as possible. So don't worry about that.
I try not to say no to good business, of course, right? So purchase plus improvements, this program is very good. It can be used with the cashback program at the same time, which is really important. This program, and Corinne, this is a great program for you. Obviously, when you're doing that first time home buyer sale, this really gives you a chance to add to your mortgage the cost of cosmetic improvements in your house. People always ask me, okay, Phil, what's the limit on this? The reality is with insured deals on first-time home buyers, we do not have an actual limit. It has to make sense. It has to make sense based on the price of the home. It has to make sense based on the cosmetic changes you want to do. This program is not for structural changes, but it definitely allows you to add that extra kitchen, that, the basement, the backyard, whatever it is that you want to do. Adding a garage actually is one of the very few structural deals that you can do under purchase plus improvements. And it's as simple as getting a quote from a reputable contractor. And then from there, Alicia will know what to do with it. And it's a great program. And it's a great way for you to add this to your mortgage. And for all of you that can very quickly do your math, you'll understand that if you're amortizing something at a much lower mortgage rate over 25 years, the immediate cost to your cash flow is much lesser than if you're trying to save to do this transaction 3 years down the line. Okay.
Or
So
putting on
great
your credit
program.
card
Take advantage.
instead. It's easier and cheaper to do it this way. So.
Absolutely cheaper and better for you and better for your cash flow. Okay. Second homes. I know we have a lot of first time home buyers here. I never know who's going to be on the call. Second homes and vacation homes for that matter, but mostly second homes are a really great program for those parents that want to help their kids that are first time home buyers and are entering the market. So again, I'm going to pass it on to Alicia. If you have a client that is a parent, wants to help, and there are different ways of helping. Alicia talked about gifted down payment, and that's great, but there's other ways to help through our second home program. So please take advantage of that. Okay, new to Canada, huge on that. Obviously, we've had a lot of people join us in this great country. I'm an immigrant myself since 2006, now Canadian, very proud Canadian. And this program really did help me when I was buying a home. Unfortunately, I didn't have an Alicia by me at that time, but and so they forced me to do 65% loan to value, which wasn't easier. Now the real estate market was cheaper then, so that did make it easier, I guess. But this program is really important. We've had a lot of investment into it. We know what we're doing with it, and we're here to help any customer that's a first-time home buyer coming from a different country. Okay, so please again reach out to Alicia and Mortgage Savvy for it. Okay. How to position Merrick's. One of the things there's many things that differentiate us from our top bank lenders out there, but one of the two things that really do is that we offer 20% on prepayment privileges, meaning that we allow you to pay your mortgage off quicker without penalties. And most importantly, when we're calculating penalties on this mortgage, we use a system called the interest rate differential. I'm not going to go into it, I promise you. But what happens with us monoline lenders is that the system actually benefits you, the consumer. So these penalties tend to be a lot smaller than they would be with the big banks. I could go into the math. I promise you again, I'm not going to do it, but the guarantee is that our interest rate differential penalties are a lot lower than the bigger banks. So remember that when you're signing with the big bank.
I want to add to that, Phil. Just to let you guys know, any fixed rate mortgage could be subject to IRD. When you are working with a big bank, the difference between what Phil is saying and the big banks can be up to 500 to 900% higher on the penalty. So when you're working with us, and Mortgage Savvy especially, we're not transactional brokers. We consider ourselves wealth advisors. So we're going through your whole future plan on here. And I want to big up MCAP and Lenwise and Merrick's, and this is why he is here as well. In 2020, if my math is correct and what I know, MCAP, its group of companies did over 100 billion, had over 100 billion in administered assets. That's as much as Bank of Montreal. So I am not, as a mortgage broker, putting you with some mom and pop shops that, because everyone has that concept and they're like, oh, it's not a big bank. I don't know. I don't trust them. Some of these monoline lenders are more reputable sometimes when it comes to mortgage space and getting the help you need and having that assistance. So this is why I brought Phil on here, is because Merrick's and Lenwise are one of my favorite lenders, and it's because of the super customer service and the attention to detail and The turnaround times, I think, Phil, I get approvals from your team within 2 hours.
Yeah, and we focus a lot on that. Keep in mind that one thing that Alicia said there that's really important is that because we are a monoline and we specialize in mortgages, this is what we do. This is what we're good at, and this is what we focus on every day. And so obviously our goal is to make sure that you're getting excellent customer service at every time and being specialists on what we do well, which is mortgages. That's what we try to focus on a daily basis. Okay. Thank you.
Phil, and we are going to get into the last part of our session. So thank you guys for still tuning in here. We appreciate you all. And now we've got the CEO of Deeded Company, Ruben, here. So take it away, Ruben.
Fantastic. Hi, everyone. And thank you so much, Phil. It's an honor going after you. I'm actually a Merrick's customer as well, and just logged into the portal to get my mortgage statement and all that stuff. So I could tell you, I've had nothing but a great experience with Merrick's as a lender, and the ability to get all my stuff online has been wonderful. So just by way of introduction, I'll introduce Deeded in just a moment. I spent the last decade of my career essentially building technology and building different platforms in the real estate space. So I've had the privilege of working with a lot of great folks, including the team that you see today. We work very, very closely. And I think, again, one of the big benefits to working with a team is that we all know each other, and we've all got relationships. We've seen situations happen over and over again. And when your team works together, especially, your realtor, your mortgage broker, your lender, your lawyer, it makes for a much, much smoother experience. And especially as a first-time home buyer, as Phil said, and I've gone through it, it can be very overwhelming and stressful. Most people have a little bit of a breakdown and cry at some point. But if we just flip to the next slide, I'll give you a little bit of an intro. So Corinne and Alicia talked a lot about finding your dream property, knowing what you can qualify for. Now you're going to reach the finish line, and the finish line is what's called closing. So as Corinne mentioned, you're going to have an offer out. You're going to have some conditions. Hopefully everything goes hunky-dory. You get that, you win a bidding war, or you get the place of your dreams. But wait, before you get your keys, you're going to have to do something called closing, which I'll take you through, and I'll give you some tips to help you avoid some landmines. But before we do, so if we could just go back, so Deeded, we're essentially a platform that connects you with really, really amazing real estate lawyers, and we've got a phenomenal on-demand team. And our sole mission as a company is to make your last mile, your closing experience, as seamless and stress-free as it could be. Because again, you're not done. I know a lot of people just get overjoyed when their offer is accepted, but you're not done. There's still a lot of steps. I'll take you through them in just a moment. So, and I'll share a little bit of our contact information. So Deeded works closely again with our lawyers. We work with folks like Phil and his team to fulfill a lot of your mortgage conditions, and of course, with wonderful folks like Alicia and Corinne to make sure that all the information flows, and ultimately we get you into your brand new home on your new couch and opening your favorite beverage and having your first meal. That's our ultimate goal. So if we just flip to the next slide. So Corinne already touched on the agreement, and one big thing to know and note is that in Canada, in most provinces, when your offer is accepted and conditions are waived, that offer is firm and binding, which means it's very, very difficult and can be very, very costly to say, "Oops, change my mind." Right? So I think we all know that, and just to illustrate. A lot of people think that, hey, I put down a $10,000 deposit, I changed my mind, I'm going to walk away from it. Unfortunately, that's not the case. And a lot of times, if you're a seller, the person who you're buying your property from ends up taking a loss, they can sue you, and there's a lot of different situations and implications, which is why you should always involve a lawyer in as early as possible to review your agreement, make sure you're advised. Again, that signature on the dotted line is a big and serious commitment. So coming into the closing process, first thing you're going to see is reviewing the documents, and that's reviewing your purchase agreement, advising if there's any errors or anything. I know we've already covered a lot that folks like Corinne can help you with to ensure all the appliances are there, the appliances are in good repair, that everything that needs to be mentioned in the contract is mentioned, because if it's not mentioned, it's not part of the contract. So there's a nice little light fixture that you'd like included because you saw it and fell in love with it. It needs to be in that contract. And again, Corinne can help you with that. Lawyer will typically review the agreement, set up some dates. You will be engaging closer to your closing date in terms of providing your down payment and mortgage funding. Alicia had a really great tip, which also, when you need to pay your down payment, it may take a few days to get your money gathered, but basically closing moves fast and furious, and that check or that money needs to hit the lawyer's account fairly quickly in order for you not to miss your closing date. A lawyer does typically something called a title search. A title search is in its simplest way, going into the land registry, searching that property, and seeing some critical facts. Are there any claims or liens? Is there anything registered on title? What are some of the mortgages that need to be discharged? Some people have a second or third mortgage. Some people have a rental contract for something like a furnace or an air conditioner that you as the buyer may assume. So that's a lot of the stuff that happens in the lawyer's office, some of the due diligence and rectifying any issues that might come up. Typically, you would then be required to sign the documents. Indeed, we do that process virtually, so that you can do that from the comfort of your home, your office, or your favorite beach. You would deposit some of your down payment, and again, we would work closely with either your mortgage broker or your financial institution to make sure that that mortgage portion that you're borrowing, it all goes to the lawyer. You actually never see that money. It goes to the lawyer, and then it gets paid to your seller. And then the last part is of course closing. This is when we tie the bow around everything and say congratulations. Your deed has been registered, meaning now you are the official owner of that property as per your provincial registration process. And of course, if you do have a mortgage, that will be also registered accordingly. So your lender, say it's Merrick's, it'll show Merrick's Financial and the amount that you borrowed on record. So that's the high level closing process. There's a lot more to it, but we thought we'd give you guys a little bit of a high level overview.
I'm also just going to circle back to the document side when you were saying to just make sure everything's highlighted in the agreement. I have heard stories of agents not putting all existing appliances to be a part of the sale of the property, and the buyers moving in and all the appliances weren't there. So there are certain things that are obviously very important to highlight, and there's no harm in just being as detailed as possible. Mm-hmm. So it's just very important because, if it's not in the agreement, then it's hard to fight. Yeah. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Great point, Corinne. So just a few tips I thought I'd share with you this evening just for smooth closing. Because again, just because you got to the finish line with your offer doesn't mean that you're going to have a smooth closing experience. So these are some of the tips that I can share. The first thing we want to share, which your realtor may advise you as well, is avoid closing on Fridays and especially on long weekends. I know it sounds like a great idea. I'll take the Friday off, I'll close, I'll move over the weekend. The issue is financial institutions, the land registry, they all close Friday at 5 p.m., which means if anything happens, if there's a hiccup, now we cannot move forward with your closing until the following business day. So long weekend, that's going to be a Tuesday. Regular weekend, that's going to be a Monday. And what it does is causes massive disruption as well. And keep in mind, whoever you're buying your property from, unless it's a new construction, also has deadlines. So it's a little bit of a domino effect. So if you're negotiating an offer and if you can avoid a Friday, again, I know it sounds like a great idea, but not the best closing date. Second is stagger your closing and moving dates. Again, sounds like a great idea. I'm going to move from place A to place B because we're going to close on a certain date. Sometimes it works out. I've done it myself and it worked out smoothly, but you're rolling the dice. And reason is most closings, at least in Ontario, Alberta's a little bit different, will only happen as close to 5 p.m. as possible, which means if something happens and if there's a delay, or if you're moving into a condo and you've got an elevator booked or you've got movers coming in, you might get lucky, but you're just subjecting yourself to a massive amount of stress of having to watch the clock. And again, if any delays happen, you're just going to hate the world. So try to stagger them, even if it means that, going to a hotel or putting your stuff in storage or staying in your current place an extra few days, or some folks even take a week between, say, moving to, from a rental to their new home. Just take your time and it just relieves the pressure. I've already talked about down payment funds. So again, if you are with any of the online banks that Alicia mentioned, Tangerine, Simply, Wealthsimple, there's dozens of them. There is no branch where you can actually go and say, I need certified funds to pay for this house. So it may take a while to get the, as much as a week to get the money together. Something that you need to think about, because without money, no closing, problems. I'm going to talk about choosing the right lawyer on my next slide. And again, for everyone, just having been through it, having seen, thousands of people going through this experience, don't sweat the small stuff. I know it's a big deal. I know it's going to cause stress. I know that sometimes, for example, despite everything we do, like Corinne, you said, checking the appliances a couple of days before, and then you move in and that stove just doesn't work, right? It's mechanical stuff. Stuff can happen. Again, we're here, and everybody you're seeing here, your realtor, your mortgage broker, your lender, your lawyer, everyone's here to help you. So you're not alone. If something like that were to happen, again, it sucks. It's not the end of the world. But just so you know, don't sweat the small stuff at the end of the day. Last but not least, choosing the right real estate lawyer. So again, we find a lot of people get to the finish line, and by that time, everyone's got home buying fatigue. There's a lot of detail. There's a lot of stuff required in terms of decisions. There's a lot of documents required for the mortgage, which we've discussed. But to get you across to the finish line, it's super important that you choose to work with the right lawyer. Why? Because despite being the last step in the process, there's still a lot that can go wrong. And you really, really want good expertise on your side, especially when things don't go according to plan. So a couple of things, knowledge and experience. You wouldn't hire a plumber to construct a home for you. Same thing with legal work. You want a knowledge and experienced real estate lawyer. Your Uncle Johnny that, practiced family law 25 years ago may sound like a good idea because they're going to do it for free or cheap. But again, you want that expertise specifically in folks that are doing real estate transactions, and they're doing a high volume of them because they've seen all the different situations from, yes, my stove doesn't work, to all sorts of issues that could be anticipated. Customer service, want someone that's going to be friendly, someone that you feel comfortable working with to really explain what you're committing to, whether if it's your mortgage you're signing or your home documents. Of course, that delves right into communication skills. Is this lawyer making it simpler for you to understand? Do you feel good about it? Do you feel that you're able to ask any questions? And we always say, especially to first-time home buyers, there is no stupid question, guys. So please ask and never feel that any question is silly or a waste of your time. Again, this is the largest investment you're ever going to make in your house, in your life. And a lot of the professionals you see here and in the industry, that is their job, to make sure that you get your questions answered, you get advice, etc. Organizational skills are huge. If you walk into an office and you see stacks of paper all over the place, probably not a good sign. Again, the reason I say that is closing is very, very deadline driven. Sometimes there's like literally 60 seconds to spare. You want someone who's organized, who's on the ball, who's not, going to go on holiday and on your closing date and leave it to chance. And of course, one of the biggest things is where are the areas they serve. Again, from our perspective, we're doing everything virtually. So if you're closing in Ontario, Alberta, BC, you can go to deeded.ca, or you can go through Alicia or Corinne to get connected with us. But ultimately, you want to know that you've got someone that is able to close in your specific area, wherever you choose to buy the property. And then the last slide here, again, feel free to check us out. Our website is deeded.ca. Our phone number and email are in there as well. And we've also got some really great resources for first-time buyers, whether you're looking for some additional content with regards to the first-time home buyers incentives or anything that's market pertinent. We've got a whole bunch of blogs and content. And again, feel free to reach out. We can always help with any related questions, or again, you can go through Alicia or Corinne, and they can funnel your questions if appropriate our way as well.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Ruben, for that. Again, I'm going to add to that a little bit, why I chose Deeded. I've been working with Ruben for the last 3 years, and I cannot say enough about their processes and systems. And, with everything with convenience right now, like look at Uber Eats and, Uber, skip the dishes, all of that, it comes to convenience. So working with a virtual lawyer where we could go on vacation if we wanted to. And if I had a house closing, as long as I have a cell phone with an internet connection, I can sign my documents. So I think that is the biggest thing there. Because, some people might want to go and sit in a law office and take off work and lose hours and, may not be able to get in right on time. I have a full-on portal with Deeded where I can also follow along the transaction, which keeps me informed. So that's why I have Ruben here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Philip, and thank you all for joining. We did run up a little bit over an hour, but I appreciate all of you. We only had a few questions on here, so I'm just going to get into those a little bit before we end this. So what I'm sorry, I don't know about income tax in Quebec. Quebec is a whole nother realm. So I'm going to leave Quebec alone, or not income tax, or the welcome tax. I'm not sure. So I'm sorry about that. What is the minimum household income needed to purchase a condo as a first-time buyer? That's a loaded question because it's going to depend on down payment amount, amortization, like your credit, what do you have in debts? We are going to be sending an email out after the seminar as well with a type form for your feedback, but also we will be sending out Calendly links. We're open to having one-on-one conversations with anybody that would like to discuss real estate or mortgages. So I'd high level like you to come and see me, and we can actually go through that all with you. Is there a minimum down payment required for your first rental property? Okay, depending how many units. So For a condo, if you're looking at to rent a condo with 1 unit, then the minimum, if you were going to use it as a rental property, is 20% down. But let's say you're purchasing a freehold property with a basement apartment in it. 5% down is the minimum down payment. And again, how do I want to say this? You have to move into it first. And then if you choose to rent it down the line, nobody's checking. But, it has to have a minimum of 2 units. Minimum of a down payment would be 5% of the first 500, 10% of the remainder up to $1 million. And then, okay.
If there's any other questions that you guys come up with, I mean, just send an email to Alicia or myself. Again, we'll be putting together one-on-one meetings with those who are interested, and you can ask as many questions as you want.
Katrina, do you have a question? Could you put it in the chat if you don't mind?
Yeah. Katrina?
She has her hand up.
Oh.
Let me see if I can ask to unmute. One sec. You are requested to unmute if you have a question, but if anyone else has anything. Oh, there she is. Nope.
Okay, my question is, I'm hearing everything about Canada. What's about the U.S.? I live in the U.S.
Okay, so unfortunately, the only state that I have connections to is Florida. If you are looking to purchase a property in Florida, I can definitely help you get financing there. But unfortunately, this is catered to the Toronto GTA market in Canada. So I apologize.
And if you need help getting connected with a real estate agent as well, feel free to reach out so that I can connect you with someone who I feel confident enough to ensure that they take care of you.
Oh, thanks so much. That'd be great.
Yeah. So just reach out to us by email.
Yeah.
We will send you guys a little bit of an email drip as well, in the sense of you're going to get the home buyer guide from Corinne. I'll be sending out an email with, what to look for in documents and getting those documents prepared for a mortgage application. So if you wanted to start there, but thank you guys so much. Oh, I see another question here. Okay.
Okay. So do you recommend finding a realtor for each region,
Oh.
Alton region, Oshawa region? So yes and no. So yeah. So I mean, I worked in Halton region, and so I watch Halton region. So there are definitely some real estate agents who are able to have multiple areas that they can serve. So when it comes to the GTA, and all the neighboring cities, it's it's based on each real estate agent. Some are confident enough to do so, others aren't. When it kind of starts looking into London, Waterloo, Guelph, and further out, then I would 100% say it would be best to find someone in that region. Now, one thing I will highlight is it is a little different. I would say asking someone who works in Oshawa to maybe work downtown Toronto. Downtown Toronto is a lot more complex. A lot, one neighborhood next door to the other shifts completely, and there's just so much going on. It's a lot more hectic. So I do suggest that if you are working with a real estate agent who isn't familiar with the downtown core, that is something that is a lot more difficult to get educated on, because of how things shift from the micro trends in the neighborhoods and so on.
So you can, and what I suggest for everyone is feel it out for anybody, because I full on know people are rate shopping and looking for the best deals and stuff like that. But keep in mind, even when with the mortgage side specifically, sometimes the best rate isn't the best deal. And that might be very hard to comprehend right now. I have been in so many situations where people have worked with other people and have not told them what they're being offered in the fine print. So sometimes when you get the extreme low rates, there's what's called a bona fide sale clause where you can't move your mortgage, can't change it until you sell your home. There's certain things there. So I think experience matters here. And we combined total of the four of us is over 25 years of experience in real estate and mortgages. So I'm so happy, and I'm going to leave it alone now, guys, because I appreciate you. But I'm so happy for my team to be here. And just know we are a team. We work as a team, and we're connected fully on a team. So when you work with one of us, you technically are working with all of us, and we're here to support you through your journey. I hope you guys have an amazing night. I love the support. We will be here again. We will be doing more seminars. So if you can follow us, that'd be great. But thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye.